you have to be willing to go outside your comfort zone a little bit and be willing to maybe see or experience something that you wouldn't be used to seeing here in the U.S. So maybe, escape the comfort of a resort, for example, if you're in a place, and kind of go experience what it's like to be in a new place, and you can have something unique, a unique memory that 99% of general spoiled American tourists might not have.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
One of the really, really cool things that I think I saw on one of your social medias while you were there was you took like a panoramic video of yourself like on top of a hill with one of the most beautiful sights I've like ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah. So that was crazy.
Yeah. And I love places like that where you just go to like an area and you're exploring, and you have to do a little bit of work to get there, right? Like you have to hike pretty far. But like the experience, the encounter that you have in certain areas is just so unexplainably incredible that it just makes everything about travel worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it just takes your breath away sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to climb up a mountain at least once in your life.
It's true. The feeling that you get when you really summit, when you've earned it like that, it's top notch. The hiker's high, it's a thing.
Oh, 100%, I agree.
Yeah, that's the one thing, like growing up in like the Midwest, it's just cornfields, it's just flat. When I first experienced mountains, it was just like, whoa, like these actually exist.
Yeah.
Like they're actually big.
And as soon as I saw them, I was like, I want to get on top of it.
There's no corn in sight.
You went to New Zealand, and then you said you went island hopping in French Polynesia.
Yeah. So we took about a 5-hour flight from Auckland on to Tahiti. Anybody that might have heard of that. And we spent the next week seeing 3 different islands there. So we spent a few days on the main island. We took a day trip over to a neighboring island, and then we spent a few days on a pretty famous island called Bora Bora. Anybody that's seen social media reels of like those overwater bungalows kind of sitting out over the water with the mountains and the super clear water in the background, it was probably taken on that island. So you'd probably be familiar with it just from those videos. And we spent a few days there. And yeah, it was the best part of the trip. That was the single best destination we saw. It was good that we did it last, because it would have been a little lame going to the other places after.
Yeah,
that,
like you go to like the best place ever, and
it's
then
like literally the most beautiful island I've ever seen, and I've been to several, and it wasn't close.
What is it about being on islands? You just get this incredible feeling.
I have no idea. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
I think it's like part of it is like you're in this area of the world that's just kind of like isolated from the rest of society. Like it's obviously not, but to a certain extent it is, right? Like you're just isolated and you feel like you're like in your own place.
I don't know. Just the water's beautiful. The food tastes amazing. The vibes are just so good. I don't know. It's just so easy to just feel at home immediately.
A lot of people don't get to experience that. They don't get to experience, like they see Bora Bora, like you said, on reels, and they think, oh, these celebrities go here. They don't really get experience.
I mean, to so many people,
cool.
Places like that are just like something you dream about growing up, and it's never something serious that you actually think that you could ever do.
Yeah.
And so for it to become a reality it's pretty special. Yeah. And
you're wearing a Scotland hoodie right now.
Yeah.
You mentioned that quite often. It sounds like it was amazing.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was a little trip I did back in March to go visit a friend that was living in London at the time. So we spent a week over there in the UK running around and split our time between London and Edinburgh. And yeah, it was fantastic.
So it's like almost like the same trip, but just different part of the world.
And a little shorter.
Yeah.
Which one is better, London or Edinburgh?
That depends on what you're looking for. I honestly enjoyed Edinburgh a little better. Yeah.
The viewers can wonder why.
The viewers can wonder. Yeah. Viewers can wonder why.
No, I've been to both too, and I definitely think that Edinburgh was a lot more enjoyable of a city.
Yeah. Not to talk down on London, I had a great time, but yeah, Edinburgh, just some special memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I have never experienced Europe. I've been to Jamaica, and then I've been to Mexico when I was younger. I don't remember it at all. So that's really cool. Like I had the opportunity to possibly go to Poland for World Youth Day. We moved to Ohio at that time, so it fell through.
Yeah.
But that's something I definitely would like to do one day. Is go over. I want to see the churches out there, like the history of the churches.
Oh yeah, I mean the architecture is just
different.
fantastic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's one thing that America is definitely missing is like especially when you go to other countries, particularly on the other side of the world, there's just so much more history there of like, just the built-in buildings and stuff like that. When you go to Paris, when you go to London, when you go to Edinburgh, like the buildings there have this like almost like authority. Like they have this like big ancient historical authority over you just because of how old they are.
They have like the big steeple that just like dominates your view.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as it's like the first thing you see when you come in and the last thing you see when you leave, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. One of the really cool things I really liked about Edinburgh was there's a bunch of mountains that kind of surround the city,
Yeah.
right? And when you go to the top of one of those mountains and you're looking down on Edinburgh, a lot of the buildings have very like pointed tops, right? It's almost like a
Arthur
very
Seat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like
Yeah,
a very, very
yeah.
Gothic kind of style. And it's very different from U.S. cities. When you see a skyline of U.S. cities, they typically have very flat buildings. And they give off two very, very different impressions. Like one is kind of like, it's like pointing up to the heavens and stuff like that. And the other one's just kind of like, I mean, I'm not talking bad about American cities, but it's just different. You know what I mean?
It's totally unique, 100%. I mean, I also did that Arthur Seat. I made that a priority to do before we left the city. So I definitely know what you're talking about. It's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you
You're
can literally
definitely-
see
you're
it
totally
from
right.
everywhere in the city.
Yeah.
It's nuts how big
You can
it is.
see it from everywhere in the city. It gives you just great views over the city and the ocean, kind of the sound that leads into the bay there. And yeah, it was a great like kind of last activity to do before we left the city.